a Walmart shooting case, some names are hushed. It's Patrick Crusius, El Paso family. They're in the federal courthouse, literally, because his brother Brian married a Mayella. Cause Patrick's brother married a Mayella. El Paso matters, they knew, kept it hush-hush, in a quid pro quo, money rush. Courthouse favors for a fake news show. They're bias, it's clear as you know. So they built a lie designed to divide, attacking Trump while the truth set aside. With a fake story, the false narrative grew, smearing Trump's name, deceiving me and you. Michael Mayella, the father pulling strings, Menange's judge, Guadarrama's court. Cha-chings gave courthouse favors for a fake news show, so the media lets Mayella's names lay low. Crusius had no ties, they clamored in the news, but they're in the chamber wearing courthouse shoes. And Michael Jr., the brother of the bride, interned at the DA's side, also with the dirty F.
Okay, can you hear me now? Oh my gosh. Let me start all over. Oh gosh. Okay, this is sorry about that, y'all. Thank you so much for your patience and moving it forward. And this is harder than you think, especially after 2000 days and we're on 2016. Still no sound. Still no sound. Can you not hear me? Yes. Okay. Hallelujah. Um, this is harder than you think, to do all of this. We don't have, a big crew or anything. It's just me. It's just me here and with a lot of support. Um, because behind the scenes, other things have to happen. A lot of investigation, um, a lot of drafting of documents, um, you're identifying the crimes. You have to then document the crimes. Then you have to draft all of the filings, and you have to figure out where you're going to file them. And then you have to follow up on the filings. You can certify them or through email. You have to make sure that they get them. You have to make sure that you keep a timetable, that if they don't get back to you with a FOIA, which they don't, you have to remind them. They play a lot of games to obstruct justice. They really do. And so, all of that is behind the scenes. And so for the public, for broadcasting, for reporting what the news doesn't want to report, then we have to learn how to even do this, right? And get the word out. And so your sharing is so important. I can't even tell you how important this is. We don't monetize. We're not doing this for money. This is absolutely for our country. Really, and I want to put for the living. Of course, our number one goal is to have our sons' remains returned to us and to get justice, to get accountability. Why? For the living, a message to the evildoers that they cannot do this without being held accountable, for justice to happen. And Richard's in a great place right now. Matter of fact, his spirit haunts these evil people. Um, but we have to send a message to this cartel group, this Mormon faction, El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartel, uh, that have been providing protection to this Jeffrey Epstein, John of God pipeline, okay? That includes the military. It includes the United States military. It includes narco politicians. It includes elite individuals and elite. I'm not saying that um, uh, to compliment them. I'm saying that they have means. They have, um, they think they're in this upper class because they have a lot of money that they can just get away with anything, and they're not above the law. They're not, and and so we need to absolutely send a message that they cannot do this. They cannot produce all these babies by exploiting these trafficked women. A lot of missing women out of Juarez. And then what are they doing with these babies to treat humanity with such disrespect? To require like kidneys from men that want to come over and cross over. This is why we're doing this. And I didn't mean to say all that, but when you have technical problems, um, it just, anyway. So let's get started, and I'll repeat myself, and however long it takes, how many days it takes, we're going to do this, and you sharing, we're doing it together. You coming on, you sharing um, all of the work that we're doing. And um, of, of course, we couldn't do it without you, and we love you, and thank you for your patience with all of this. Because it's 2016 days since they forcibly removed our son. Just turned 21, just turned 21. He was doing the right thing, and his birthday in June, right after his birthday, they forcibly removed, after so much retaliation, months and months of retaliation, y'all, severe retaliation. They went in there and forcibly removed him, took him down to the arms room. We have the seal number of the crime scene. We have the confirmation by the director of emergency services recorded, Thomas Kane, saying that the arms room was renovated without any regard to expense or protocol. It was an illegal order to do that by a Major General James um, uh, James Eisenhower, and then our son's body was stolen off of Fort Bliss because of that kind of access to a corrupt and compromised director of emergency services, and because of others which we're going to be talking about tonight, and trafficked to whereas a for disposal. And they have this disposal system because the Mormon faction El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartel, they are, the El Paso cartel is the Texas cartel. They are in alliance, and they have compromised the funeral home business, and they can traffic everything from dead bodies to everything. And we thought that they were piling up these dead bodies at Plenitude Crematorium because um, they wanted to cash in on humanitarian aid for unidentified migrants, and I think they still wanted to do that. And they were, um, the recently searched Plenitude Crematorium, raided Plenitude Crematorium, over 400 bodies piled up like cardwood, being rat infested and everything. And the thing is the ovens were working. It was, the ovens were working. The media was reporting that they were broken. They weren't broken. They were working, because the night of the raid, they lit them, they fired them up, and they were burning evidence, and they burned all night long, a very thick, disgusting smoke, and so that tells you that they were piling up these bodies because they were cashing in on these bodies, and not only for unidentified migrant humanitarian aid through NGOs, but now we know with the Ukrainians that they had a market for dead bodies, to drain them of some kind of fluid that they have in them, to make some dolls to put in a chest of dead. I mean, it's disgusting, right? It's absolutely demonic, satanic, everything. And the Mormon faction, El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartel, were the security guards for the Jeffrey Epstein, um, John of God pipeline. Okay, pipeline. Um, and they were trafficking everything, siphoning fuel, trafficking drugs, trafficking babies, trafficking women, trafficking Oregon harvesting, trafficking that. They were absolutely the weapons. They were, this is trafficking on steroids. And they were given that access. Now you know why. Jeffrey Epstein was buddies with the presidents of the United States, because the presidents gave them access to the military by compromising the Senate Arms Committee, by giving stars to compromised military members to be generals, because we know General Kelly, absolutely part of it, General McConville, General Mealy, General Garrett, and we can go with General Eisenhower, General Sean Bernabe, all of these flag officers. Um, just totally compromised, and that takes powers at the top, right? And we know the Bushes were involved. We know the Clintons were absolutely buddies with Jeffrey Epstein. And the rest is going to come out. The rest is going to come out because we know that the military was involved. We know Fort Bliss is absolutely involved. We know that one of the reasons why our son, the major reason why our son, that he lost his life, is because reporting Fort Bliss's ties to the Walmart mass shooting. Okay, we know that. And we know that Fort Huachuca is absolutely involved, and Fort Huachuca is the signal, right? Is also the asymmetric warfare, but also signal, also mind control. And the signal is controls the airspace, right? The airspace. So all of these flights that were going over White Sands Missile Range, restricted airspace, the signal, they had to compromise Fort Huachuca to allow those flights to come in and out of Zorro Ranch, because Zorro Ranch, of course, had its own runway. The beacon was like, what, 4 miles from the runway. The Otto Vor beacon, where, if you're flying an aircraft, you just dial in that beacon. It takes you right to that landing strip, and right to Zorro Ranch, which is borders the northern call up of White Sands Missile Range, and very close to Santa Fe, very close to Fort Huachuca and Fort Bliss. So they were all, it was all compromised. And so who were the security guards? The security guards were those that were compromised in there, part of the Mormon faction. El Paso cartel, who was in the FBI. Well, we know it was Connell Wetton, the Mormon faction El Paso cartel. And, so it's all coming together. And then things just released, of course, Zorro Ranch, matching all of this to Epstein and to Fort Bliss. And of course, today it was found in the information that was recently released to the public, the Epstein files that were recently released. There was information about Jeffrey Epstein's wanting to make, I guess, a perfect race, a perfect race of people, trying to do some genetic studying. And of course, we know that he was all into. I don't know how many children he fathered. I don't. The numbers are incredible. And the same thing with John of God. Thousands he fathered. And this clears up any kind of confusion on who can have babies, okay? Because they needed women to have the babies, okay? They needed women have the babies. They weren't trafficking loads of men to go down to there to the baby farm for the spirit children or whatever of John of God. They weren't doing that. They were, saying, give me one of your kidneys and you can get into the country to do cheap labor or whatever. That's what they were doing to the men. But for the women, they were trafficking them, and doing the worst type of crimes to them. And many, many, many of them lost their lives because after 5 to 10 babies, this is what the documents say, then they would take their organs. And then there's a need for the funeral business, the funeral dumping, the crematory, the dumping grounds, but they kept the bodies, and maybe the bodies they also monetized, right? They marketed everything, and they marketed the babies too. But when you look at the timeline of both of when they were doing all of this, these babies should be around, teenagers to in the 30s, okay? Teenagers to in the 30s. And all these double gangers, right, that we see now that look so familiar. And when you do the facial recognition analysis on these individuals, that, it's like you do a double take because they look so much alike, and you're like, okay, I need to do a facial recognition. They score very high, y'all, higher than siblings. Okay, they score higher than siblings, natural siblings. Um, it's like, okay, so what's going on here, right? What's going on here? And of course, we know that Patrick Crusius's father was a disciple of John of God, and he admitted that. Um, so yeah, it's all coming out. That's what I'm saying, and we've been right all along. We have some breaking news today about this case here, and that's why I have it up here. Let's see if I can. Uh, so, charges dismissed from two former Socorro school board members and spouse. The spouse, Gabriella, she was working for the El Paso ISD as a school teacher. And now this happened, this is connected to us, okay? This is connected to our son's case. This is why this is so important. This is breaking news, and it gives you, and I'm going to give it to you right up front. What it tells you is that there are cracks in the DPS, which is the Texas Rangers. There are cracks in the district attorney's office. Those are the two main points that you need to get out of this case, and I'll tell you why. These individuals, they were trying to expose some corruption in the Socorro ISD, and John Briggs. This is the intelligence that we got from, years of doing this, because this happened in 2024. You know, didn't like to be exposed, right? He is the assistant district attorney, and he sent JT Juan Torres um, uh, to go and handle the situation. JT, um, who I can tell you that I just posted him. Let's see if I can get that up here. I just posted how he looks. Yes, got all these notices. So here he is. This is JT Torrez. Okay. Now JT went there and arrested this couple and other individual, and now they've been put through hell, right? But JT was a partner of Gustavo Sanchez. So my Facebook goes crazy. I'm telling you, it's going to go crazy. JT was a partner to Gustavo Sanchez. Gustavo Sanchez was assigned to our case, our family case. And he is a relative and also cartel. He's totally connected to the cartel, but he's the family of Nadal Baim, the Palestinian arms dealer that is the father-in-law to Bradford Bugado. Okay, the lieutenant colonel in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM Richards chain of command. So, here they are, this compromised bunch of Texas Rangers. And we already know after all these years, they're so compromised. We know that by Jose Sanchez, remember, he was caught doing the frisky business in the parking lot on taxpayer dime with this woman that had millions of dollars worth of cars, a fleet of cars. Um, yeah, it is just crazy. And like a third of her cars are under disability benefits, veteran disability benefits. Yeah, that was wow. That was anyway. So we know that the DPS is compromised, and but JT is also, there's more to it. There's so much more to it, right? He was also the lead investigator for the Walmart mass shooting case. So they took this group, this DPS, and made them the lead investigators with the two FBI guys, right? Remember the two FBI guys, Diddly Doom and Diddly Dum and whatever. Um, those two. Anyway, JT admitted that the Walmart mass shooting was staged, that the crime scene was staged. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that no shooting happened? No, that doesn't mean that. That means that they tampered with the crime scene, that they moved bodies, that they cleaned up ammunition, that they tampered with it. And we broke it. Um, uh, just I think a couple weeks ago, showing you that it was absolutely tampered with all the pictures that they've released and whatever over these years. We finally found it. We found it, and we gave it to everybody, and that's why this is so important for everyone to share it. Because the media is not sharing it. That's why I played the Mayella video at the beginning, because the media is not sharing it, right? So this is very important, that that JT um, absolutely confirmed that the crime scene was staged, and that the FBI um, corroborated that by saying and confirming to us that the crime scene wasn't secured for over 48 hours. It took them over 48 hours to secure the crime scene of the Walmart mass shooting. So that is really important information, and moving forward to our cases, because that's coming up now, y'all. That's coming up. Um, and so that all of this sharing is really important right now, to get accountability because of the cases that we are now going to bring forward. Um, but the other thing that you need to know about JT is that he fled the country. He's in Costa Rica. Okay. So going back to going back to this case. So this case now was dismissed. Okay. So the arresting officer was, oh, go away. The arresting officer was JT. Okay. JT is now in Costa Rica. Okay. He fled the country. He's not interested in coming back to El Paso for the prosecution. Yeah, he's not interested. Okay. He wants to stay in Costa Rica. um, that's yeah, we can understand that, right? He's compromised, he's dirty. We understand that. He fled the country. He's in Costa Rica. Now the charges have been dismissed because there's no arresting officer in order to prosecute the case. So thank God it got dismissed. And I think that's good news. And that's how it just shows you two things, that the DPS, real cracks are showing now, right? Real cracks are showing. And I mean, he had to get out of the country. So it tells you that. He had to give up his career to do that. Okay. Um, and also that because JT was in collusion, in conspiracy, in planning, and whatever you want to say with the DA's office, with John Briggs, right? Um, Also Jaime Esparza, but that real cracks are showing in the district attorney's office, which that's really good because in order to get accountability, we need to have a sound DA's office. And of course, we don't right now because Montoya is a fake. He's a fake. He's a fraud. He is not even, he's just an impersonator, a usurper at this point. So, well, from the very beginning. So that is really, really big news. We have some other big news, about the cases going forward that we'll be explaining. Yeah, in the next few days and everything, and and with other things that are going on, but it seems uh, we always think, okay, we've got it all. We've got it all. Remember when I would always say, we've got it all. We've got enough. That's what I would say. We've got enough to move forward. And then some, God, God's hand is on all of this, and it's all God's timing. Um, and every time I think, okay, we've got it all, right? We've got it. Something like what, draining water out of bodies, making a human race by doing the worst type of crimes against women and children. Okay, you don't get a good human race by doing that. Okay, I'm just letting people know that that's not how you get a good human race. Okay, um, there's nothing that can replace God's institution. And what is God's institution? The family. The family. It's so important. And what has this satanic group that has power over us, right? They have power over Hollywood. They control Hollywood. They control Disney. They control our sciences like NASA. They control, the military. They're controlling in the government and everything on our taxpayer dime. It's like, oh, really, gosh. And it's I think we need to get rid of the IRS, right? I think we need to, I think that would really be very, very helpful to everybody. um but you know they can be doing all of that, and you think it can't get any worse, right? It can't get any worse. And then all of a sudden something happens. God's hand is on all of this. They messed with the heavyweight champion of creation, right? And God is no buttercup, and God is absolutely exposing them. Just It's just amazing. And there's nothing better than the family, and God. That's God's institution. So He's going to bring the family um, back to healthiness, right? That's just who He is. And It's been under so much attack. Men have been under attack, women have been under attack, children have been under attack because of all of the propaganda, all of the mind control, all of the mind control, all of the hypnosis, and I've been talking about that for years, because of, you know, the whole COVID thing, and that was all mind control, I believe, and silencing us. Um, so, you know, when we're ready, when we are ready, God um, will make it happen, and He knows when it'll happen. But it's just my knee is the first one on the ground to bow with all of this. It really is, to see what is happening. It's um, it's just amazing, and I think we have a real um, it's so positive to me, because if things weren't coming out, then I think we would have to worry. But because things are coming out, there's so many patriots out there, there's so many people, decent people out there that are sharing this information, that are finding their own information and getting it out there, and demanding accountability, and demanding um, that that we have the rule of law um, applied, right? Applied, actually applied. So I just want to say thank you so much. I can talk about Mendami. I can talk about Candace Owens. I can talk about our weather. I could talk about all kinds of things. Um, and, but ultimately, God is in control, and God is going to, uh, he'll, yeah, he'll reveal it all like he's doing in his time. So thank you so much. And woe to those, this is my verse for this week, woe to those that call good evil and evil good, right? Woe to those that call evil good and good evil, put things upside down. And I think that JT learned that lesson. I think that the DA's office is going to learn that lesson. I think this cartel is going to learn the lesson. So, and this whole pipeline, it's just, yeah, it's just revealing itself to be very, very weak if we just pay attention and um, and don't put up with it. So, thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye. Oh, I see all your comments. Oh, I'm sorry. El Paso Cartel, El Paso, Texas Strong. Yeah, El Paso Strong. Absolutely. Um, and I let it out, the El Paso Inc. El Paso Inc. And um, sorry, I have to do like a little follow up. Um, El Paso Inc. gave the El Paso Best Award for 2025 to Mario Ortiz Soroldi, the trafficker, the attorney, the immigration attorney that was trafficking and exploiting these women from Cuba. Remember that? Remember that? So El Paso Inc., and I can tell you right now that Reyes Mata is up to no good. I can tell you right now that he's compromised. I can tell you right now that he absolutely is part of the Mormon faction El Paso cartel. That's El Paso Inc. So I can tell you that right now. So that is, and he's doing puff pieces on Bill Hicks right now. It's like, really, really, Reyes Mata, really, you know. Um, Gosh, how low are you gonna go? How low are you gonna go? Wow. How can there be a mass shooting in Walmart of 23 people and be Sella Vista in 7 minutes? Yeah. Exactly. They'll traffic anything and they can profit from it. Yeah. The NAFTA trade was sure based on for human trafficking. That's a really good point, Laura. And I haven't looked into that. But that coming from the Bushes, right? Coming from the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, absolutely the Clinton Foundation. That a lot of bells go off on that, and horns and red flags and everything. Just imagine because of remember the Haiti children, and yeah, right in front of Otero County, a mile and or so crossing the railroad tracks. Yeah. McGregor Range, yeah. Just imagine what happens at McGregor Range. Yeah, we have some information about McGregor Range and everything that happened out there. Um, yeah. So, um, the truth is going to come out and they're going to be held accountable and the death penalty is on the table. Um, where it should be. It should be absolutely um, the option for these criminals. Yeah. And Leilani Hart should be arrested like ASAP. There's no excuse. So, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, on this 2016 days. Can you imagine?